Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to All in the Details. I'm your host, James White III. We're here at Mercer County Community College, WWFM 89.1 HD2. Also, you can listen to us on jazzonto.org. Our airtime is 9 to 10 on Tuesdays. I repeat, the airtime for those who are just turning in, our airtime is 9 to 10 on Tuesdays. Okay, we have our guest back, Yolanda Robinson. We have her all to ourselves. I can't believe this. It's wonderful. Yolanda, glad to have you here. I need you to reintroduce yourself, actually, to the audience.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Mr. White. I call you Professor White, Dr. White, all those different things, all those things, Thank you so much for having me back on Jazz on 2. And like you said, you got me all to yourself.
Good. Okay, tell the people again what your community involvement.
Yoland L. Robinson. I use the L because it's my stage name.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess you would say a community activist, someone that's involved in the community. Just want to make sure that people are well, because a lot of times we deal with so many different things, so many different layers, right? And then we have to go out to society and think that we're supposed to be able to blend in with people when we're in the grocery store line. Sometimes that doesn't work that well. So that's what I do. I'm an urban practitioner through Princeton Theological Seminary School. So I'm able to go out into the community and talk with different organizations, different people, and connect them together, because sometimes the people and the organizations are separate.
That is true. That is very true. Mm-hmm. And when you say to see that people are well, that is a major undertaking, because so many people are unwell for a whole series of reasons that we will discuss.
Yes.
Okay. Carrie Hamilton, would you like to add anything to that?
Thank you for coming. And my questions usually come up depending upon the situation.
Okay.
I'll defer to that.
All right, thank you.
Here we go. I got a lot.
Okay.
The election.
All right.
Okay. The recent election with the Democrats winning just about everywhere. Okay. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean to you?
Well, you don't really want to be that type of person to say, I'm not into politics, because I used to say that I'm not into politics, but politics is every day.
It's so true.
You can't get away from it. You can say that you're not a part of politics, but you really are. Even if you don't vote, you are a part of politics. So we just had this, you want to say, historical election, this historical win of, taking back the House, should I say? Kind of, sort of, you would think
Close.
Yeah. But I think that when it comes down to politics, that we as individuals, we need to pay close attention, like we did when we were in high school. Remember when somebody was running for class president? We was really into that. That's where politics started at, in school. So to say as an adult, you're not into politics, that is not true.
Well, also, politics are in the youth.
Yes.
So I've had people say that, well, I don't care what's happening, I don't care about politics, but politics are in the youth. The SNAP program and how they had tried to dismantle it.
Yeah.
With the government shutdown. The government shutdown affects everybody.
Yeah.
Where are you going to go? You live in a cave? Politics is everywhere.
Yeah.
And the more you know about it, the better you are prepared to make good decisions to keep your quality of life good. It's just that simple.
Because we have to be careful about how we speak about politics, right? Because people are listening. So you got somebody listening who is uneducated in politics, right? And you can talk really well, you know what I mean? And you just make it sound so good, but everybody's so confused. So where are we?
But part of that is their responsibility. There's more information out now than ever.
Yes.
Ever.
True.
And if they really want to get good information, all they have to do is go on their cell phone or go on their laptop or whatever, and there's good information on the online. But there's also a lot of crap on there too.
Yeah.
So you have to make some decisions.
Yeah. But that's, I guess, and that's still hard, because the average person don't want to do the work.
You're totally correct on that. And I keep reminding my students and everybody else, democracy, if you really want it, is participatory.
Yes.
You can't be an observer. You have to get in the game.
You gotta get in.
You have to get in.
You know? So, but no, you talked about the SNAP portion too, right? So what I want to say about what we just went through is people need to pay attention to the word, right? Because God talked about the famine and, you know, food and things of that nature, and, you know, dry deserts and stuff. So we were almost close, and some people are already there. You know what I mean? But a lot of things came out that people weren't paying attention to. You know what I'm saying? Like the SNAP program. Let's talk about that for a minute. To where people thought that Black people were the main recipients of the SNAP program, right? And then the people call it different names, SNAP, welfare, food stamps, all different kinds of names wherever you go, right? But then it came out that we weren't the major recipients of it. It wasn't even created for us.
And we never were.
It never was.
But the media painted that picture, you know, of the welfare mother with all these kids and overweight.
Yeah.
You know, but most of the people on those assistance programs are white senior citizens. Up until recently, Blacks didn't live that long to even get Social Security and all this other stuff. You know, our mortality rate was significant.
Yes.
You know, so now we're starting to live long enough to actually get some of the benefits that we paid into the system.
And that's what it's about.
Lessons learned. What have we learned though? I mean, what do you think we learned for the shutdown and all this other crazy stuff that's going on?
I learned that kindness is most important, right? I was traveling when it first started, so, you know, going through the airport, you know, having people service you who's not getting paid, still putting a smile on. I'm saying to myself, this ain't gonna last long. So I went home and canceled all my vacations. I canceled all of my trips out of respect. Right now everything's back open now, but I'm still not going to travel right now. But I think the kindness is what I learned, that just be a little bit more kinder to people. I think that's what a lot of us got out of it. So, you know, being able to support each other, knowing that everything was possible to be lost. I think everybody came together with kindness. Most people did, not everybody, but for the most part, for me, I focus more on the kindness.
And I think that was a pleasant surprise when they showed on the TV and on the internet about people contributing to the food and working to help the people who have lost their SNAP benefits and to the government workers who are out of work and not getting paid and all of that sort of stuff. So the communities really kicked in on that.
Yeah.
And that was a good thing. And you're right about kindness. There's never a time when kindness should not be shown or attempted.
Yeah.
You know, no, you can't always attempt it, you know, but anytime there's an opportunity, you know, that's what separates us from the animals and the barbarians and all the other stuff is kindness, because everybody can be cruel.
Yeah.
Okay. On these lessons, do you think that the people in government have learned anything?
I think that definitely the people in government have learned a lot of stuff. They've learned something about trust, I believe, okay? Where their trust was so displaced with each other that it came out. That they end up arguing within themselves. So
You know, there's so many currents, political currents circling around. The leadership is confused on both sides. Clearly on the Republican side, it's very callous and destructive. I mean, just unbelievably callous.
Very kiddish.
You know.
You calling names and stuff. You like in the
kiddish
schools or in a play yard ground
kiddish
somewhere.
is too soft.
You think it's too soft?
Yeah, because it's callous. You know, like calluses. There's complete indifference to the suffering of people. You know, Trump's having ballrooms built. He's having
bathrooms.
You know, and he's having people come to Mar-a-Lago and have banquets and everything else. Everybody else is struggling. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. And then what's his name? Johnson, the Speaker of the House. He put the House of Representatives on vacation for 6 weeks,
Oh, yeah.
and they were still getting paid.
Yeah. It's only because when you're trying to hide something, I call it create a crisis, right? People will create a crisis just to distract you from the real issue. So when I say to people, when you see something just being focused on, like that snap and all those things, it was because something else was really happening behind the scenes. And they didn't want us to know about it. And I tell people, when you see something like that is being just shown all the time, pay attention, because something is coming down the pipe, something is going on, you know.
Yeah,
So, but our leadership is definitely needing to pay attention to the people, not the pocket, but the people.
and that's what it's all about. Let's hope that some major changes are going to happen. Definitely in the Democratic leadership, they've got to be stronger, more aggressive. The nice guy thing isn't working with Trump. It's not working.
No.
So we have to try something else. And
Yeah.
I hope they made the right decision with this agreement, but they're basing it on a promise
Yes, a
that
promise.
they'll talk about the social programs and affordable health and all that sort of stuff. I don't trust the Republicans. Trump has never kept his word about anything.
Yeah, you gotta even say about the Dems too, right? Because let me say something. You can be registered as anything, a Democrat or Republican. When you go behind that curtain, that's just you and those buttons. You can go and do whatever you want. So sometimes people put certain things on the paper so they can get certain benefits, right? And I learned this from 3 older black women back in the day. And they were like, we are registered as Republicans, but when we go behind that curtain, we vote Democrat. Because it's certain things we need to get for our community. So what I'm trying to say is there's more than one way to skin a cat.
And yeah, what I found out though, that's not universal.
It's not.
In the North, you can change and split your ticket and everything else when you vote. You can't do that down south. So we got those options here. You cross the Mason-Dixon line, you don't have them. If you're a Democrat, you have to vote Democrat.
Yeah.
If you're a Republican, you can't
Go in there and switch it.
switch. No. So,
But here,
yeah.
you can go in, you know, because a lot of, like, around here, people are really bent on government support, you know, grants and things of that nature. So they kind of lean more towards who's going to give me the money for my project. But I'm not a nonprofit. And one of the reasons why I'm not a nonprofit is, one, I like money, right? And then 2, being under a nonprofit, there's a lot of things that you can and cannot do.
That's so
And a
true.
lot of people don't know that, so they operate under, as a nonprofit, but that's really under a Christian status. So you're doing things that you're not even supposed to be doing, and you're under that. So I'm not real. I've been in handcuffs maybe twice, and they don't go good with nothing. So I'm like, I'm not good with handcuffs, so I try to do things that make my integrity be okay, that I'm not compromising myself just to get $1 or $2.
You know, with profit and nonprofits. Nonprofits, you can get money from anywhere. You don't even have to identify where you get money from, but you have to identify what you spend it on. And so that's the key. So what you spend it on is what they check.
Yeah.
And if you spend it on all these crazy things, you're breaking the law.
You're breaking the law.
Now, with profit making, you have to identify where the money came from, but you can spend it on anything you want. So it's a reverse.
It's first.
You
Yeah,
know,
but
people, like you said, people don't know the difference, and they make that mistake, and next thing you know, they
and handcuffs can think, you know.
It's interesting to see that. I have that. Oh, now the Epstein files are finally. Well, we'll see if they're finally going to be released.
Let's take a break on that.
Okay.
Because you can't start that. And you got a minute to go in the first segment.
Okay.
That ain't working.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back.
I moved it over a little bit.
Okay, and 5, 4, 3, 2,
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and we ended on the Epstein files. Okay, here we go. Again, you're listening to WWFM 89.1 HD2, also jazzon2.org, supported by Mercer County Community College. Our illustrious guest is Yolanda Robinson. We're very happy to have her back. She has all this hands-on knowledge. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Oh, thank you.
She knows about what's going on in the community, and communication is the key.
Yes, it is.
It's all about the people. When you stay away from the people, bad things happen.
Bad things happen.
Okay. Oh, we're also supported by the, what is it called? Gear Up, and also VIP program.
VIP and Upward Bound, that all
Upward Bound.
comprise the youth college.
Yeah, the youth college here, they reach out to youth in the community, the city, the county, and they encourage post-secondary education, academic, and also the Epstein files.
Ooh.
Here we go. Of course, there's nothing there. They say that times and times again. Then why are you not releasing them? If there's nothing to see, release it. We'll all see blank pages.
Well, again, going back to that creative crisis, that making it seem like something else is there, right? Okay, clearly you know there's a crime been committed.
Yes.
Clearly we know this, right? So for us all to sit here and say we all waiting to know what was in the files, you know what was in the files. We saw the women crying. We know all the different things that happened. So what do you really want to see? You want to see actual physical pictures of what else are you missing?
What they're missing is, they said approximately 1,000 young girls. And it's interesting. Trump is against DEI, but he was okay with DEI. They were okay with DEI with the girls. They molested everybody. They were indiscriminate. White girls, black girls, Asian girls, Hispanic girls were all men. I don't want to use the term. Yeah, I don't want to use any ugly terms. So victimized is a good one. Okay, 1,000. Now, 2 people couldn't do that. There's no way 2 people will handle 1,000 girls. And then if you're trafficking them to somebody. So the recipients of those perverse services have not been identified.
Yeah, there's a lot in the middle. So you got the 2 outer ends, and you got your middle road going down, right? So I got robbed twice in one day in Atlanta, right? It was in February when they had like the All-Star game about 4 years ago. And the second time, the person actually got in the car with all kinds of things, right? And I knew then I had to save myself, but I didn't know how to save myself. But I had to go Trenton them. So the Spirit was like, go Trenton them. So I'm like, what is that? I'm in Georgia. What to go Trenton on somebody mean? Right? But sometimes in the midst of danger, you can have a conversation with God. It may seem like minutes, but it could be in seconds, right? So he said, go Trenton on him. And one of the things that we say in Trent is the B word. We will call you the B word in a minute, right? So I end up just saying the B word because down south they're like Southern belles. Women don't talk like that. Women don't smoke cigarettes in public and things like that. Or cigars. So to be able to say the B word, like where's she coming? She might be tough too, or whatever. The man ended up apologizing and backing up and getting out the car.
All right.
You know what I mean? So okay. Don't go.
Surprise.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
But we're really enjoying Yolanda. I told her we have her all to ourselves.
I know. I'm sorry.
We're having a good time.
Yeah. She's trouble. You look at me.
Oh, she definitely is.
Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you.
So we're picking up, doing a quick intro. And I guess you could say, pardon this interruption or whatever, how you want to use it.
Ladies and gentlemen, pardon this interruption. We are happy to have a new person come into the show, Satchel Page. He's been here before. We're glad to have him back. Sam, you want to reintroduce yourself to
My
the
name
people?
is Samuel Page. I'm one of the owners of Satchel Page Limousine. We are located in Mercer County. We do a lot of transportation with school system ministers and senators and congresspeople. We move people around.
Okay, and that's good. That's a good thing. We need to be moving around.
Yes, we do.
Okay, what we've covered so far, Sam, is that we talked about the election
Mhm.
and some of the things we hope people have learned about the recent election with the Democrats winning some of the stuff. We also talked about the shutdown,
Mhm.
and are we learning the right lessons from that? That's another thing. And then now we're on the Epstein files.
Oh, wonderful. This is a discussion to have.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because finally, the Trump administration is being forced to release the Epstein file. Congress has passed the bill and everything, and both houses have agreed on it. None of that was necessary.
Right, right,
All he had to do was say, tell him, open the file. He's the president.
right.
You know, he tells them to investigate people,
Right.
so he can tell them to, open the file. He chose not to do that. So now, he had to sign the bill, so now they're gonna open the file. But auxiliary to that is now he wants to try to track down Democrats that knew Epstein. But if they did the investigation, that's already been done.
It's already been done.
Exactly,
You know, that's
exactly.
already been done. And clearly, there were cover-ups,
Mhm.
you know, and the English seem to have done more about putting information out, like when the king has demoted his uncle,
Mhm,
he took
mhm.
titles away from him,
Because
kicked
he
him
was
out of the
involved.
palace.
Yes.
You know, I mean, this is serious, because the English Secret Service, the MI6, told the king, we got all this information about him.
Mhm,
And they don't play in England. I have
Right,
to give them
right.
that crowd.
Mhm.
They don't play. Our governments play with us.
Go back and forth.
Yeah, but they don't play in England. They said, no, we know he did X, Y, and Z.
Mhm.
You gotta go. You know, he doesn't go, you go.
Yeah.
You know, it's just that simple. And so again, so the Epstein files. Okay. Now, what may happen now that Trump is releasing it, but he's also doing the additional investigations? They can still hold information up because it's under investigation.
Mhm, mhm.
So this may be another ploy.
Another ploy to stop it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
again, the plot always thickens.
All right.
Mhm, mhm.
That's why he said he will release it, because he has another agenda
Exactly.
behind
Mhm.
holding it up.
Yeah. But we should talk about it. Well,
The
yes,
52
we
fake
should.
out.
Yes.
The 52 fake out.
Yeah. You know, of course we should talk about it.
Mhm.
It's a massive crime. It's an embarrassment to a developed, industrialized country who thinks we're civilized.
Mhm.
But if you're mass producing abuse on children, you're not civilized.
Yeah, but I think that what happens with not only with this particular case, men stick take care of men. Men stick up for men. Right, wrong, and indifferent, right? And because it's against women, women don't have the luxury of standing up for each other. Because if we got to go home and the man is paying the bills and you trying to stick up, that man may stop paying them bills and put you out. So now you ain't got nowhere to go. You know what I mean? So a lot of times the woman is being abused, but you can't say anything because the abuser is paying all the bills.
You're totally correct. I was gonna go right there. Misogyny for people is well, it says hatred of women, but dislike of women. And a lot of men do that.
Mhm.
I'm amazed at how many
Yeah.
do that on different levels from
Mhm.
different societies. And so you're totally correct. Women are, but now more women are saying, wait a minute. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who would have thought that?
Mhm.
You know, saying, wait a minute, because these are young girls. People don't have daughters, they don't have sisters, they don't have nieces, cousins, they don't have any of that are female. I don't understand how they can be so careless about protecting
Yeah.
these young girls. Like I said, they molested everybody. They
Yeah.
didn't stop. They did white girls. Most of them are white, but then they had Hispanic, they had black, they had Asian. They mixed it up.
Yeah, but then also if you have that man who works for that particular company or is in that group, in that crowd, he's now silenced. He can't even be a real man. So a lot of women are in homes with men that are not even real men because they can't even stick up for the woman because they can't stick up for themselves. So now you got a whole society of people that are confused and can't nobody help no one.
But this is where you have to grow a backbone. Because if you don't change yourself, you can't change the system.
Mm-hmm.
And have to stick up for your rights. That's all we got. We ain't got nothing else.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, you lose them, you lose everything.
Everything.
You lose everything.
But we don't have that integrity anymore. Back in the day, like even with the Black Panthers, when they saw a need, you know, they started the WIC program for women, infant, and children. You know what I mean? That's still around to this day. So we have to come together and say, okay, what do we need for our community?
This is true.
What do we need?
Mhm.
You know, we need a Satchel Page for our community. That's going to make sure that our dignitaries get to where they got to go in style.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and not have to get on the list to wait to see if there's a limousine available for them. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So we have to make sure that our dollars are spent in our community, right? Now, if you see, where Mercer County College is right now. Mercer County College is downtown Trenton. It's in the Black district. This was a Black business district years ago. So they wonder why a lot of times some of the Black men are hanging out around downtown. It's because of the ancestors. The spirit of the ancestors are here. There's a Black cemetery. They don't build a parking lot over top of downtown. No one is screaming about that stuff. You know what I mean? We got downtown. You had down there on West Front Street. It was called Queensway. Warren Street was called Kingsway. You know what I mean? So we have all this history right here in our own community, and no one is talking about it.
Well, one thing has been erased and hidden, you know, and now more than ever, the information is coming out. You know, we knew about some Black leaders, but there were so many. You know, we knew about some of the riots, but there's so many. You know, you know, and again, even about Tulsa.
Yes.
When I heard about Tulsa earlier in life, it was a riot. But if you have planes dropping incendiary bombs, that's not a riot.
Right.
I have
That's
never
better.
heard of a riot who had an Air Force.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, right, already waiting.
yeah, waiting, and they needed a you know, something to precipitate it, and it was a Black and white couple who were caught caressing or something on an elevator, and that they said he was trying to rape her, you know, all that old crazy stuff, and then they dropped the bombs. You know, so I mean, but during the Second World War, again, the older I get, the more I find out things. More people, more Blacks died domestically from race riots than died fighting the Japanese or the European the Germans. Wait a minute, why are you killing us and they're attacking you?
Yeah.
I didn't understand. Same thing with Hispanics. In California and Texas, they were the police were shooting Hispanics and rioting and everything.
When there was a war going on.
Yeah, I said, wait a minute, they didn't bomb Pearl Harbor.
I know. But these are the things that we went through, because when people are lying and they done stole something, the whole trick is not to get caught. So if I just keep bullying you and harassing you and belittling you, you ain't gonna never realize that you are the stronger one and I'm the real weaker one. Anytime somebody gotta get a dog, a hold, and all that to hold you back, that shows you right there that they're the weaker one.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
They're the weaker one, you know? So I had to do a project once for the Holocaust. They had Mercer County has an event once a year for the Holocaust in West Windsor, right? I had an opportunity to go to that event, and I think I was the only Black person there. They asked me to speak at this event, and I was like, oh Jesus, help me, right? So I was able to speak at this event. So what I did was I gave everyone in the audience an animal, right? And I had people in the audience with a net, and then I said to them, anybody holding a frog, a fish, blah, 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 whatever it was, put it inside the net. So now afterwards, everything was caught up. I said, see there, y'all just gave it up. Just the same way with the Holocaust. They came, y'all didn't put up no fight, you didn't try to cut the net, you didn't put up no resistance. There was no resistance. You know what I'm saying? But we are the majority, but we put up no resistance to the 3 or 4 people that come with the guns and the knives who are really the cowards.
Well, it's interesting because there have been in the South, I'm finding out, a lot of resistance. There are different groups who have resisted the KKK and Jim Crow, and the more successful they were, they finally killed them all. You know, like I said, they just destroyed Rosewood and Tulsa and all these other places. They just destroyed them. You know,
It's hateful.
Yeah,
It's mean.
You know, so every time we tried to rise above, they pushed us back down. And even during slavery, there were successful slave revolts, but we didn't hear about them. You know, no slave in this country heard about Haiti, and that the British, the French, and the Americans were had them surrounded and would not allow them to export any of their goods. That's why Haiti's always been perpetually so poor. You know.
But what about Canada? You know, we have black people. There's a black museum that I just visited over in Canada. The history of black people in Canada. You know what I mean? Like, I met some people in Canada. The reason why a lot of people come over to Canada is because Canada reminds them of England. It looks the same. It kind of has that same that European look, you know. So people go to Canada a lot just for that, and they live there, you know. So we as a society and as a race, we, like I said, we have to stand up for our rights, and we have to tell our history. Our history is getting lost, buried deeper and deeper every day because people are afraid to talk about it.
You know, Canada, now they've had some issues that I didn't know about. But what happened during the American Revolution, more blacks fought for the British than fought for the Americans. Because if you're a slave, the first people to offer you freedom is who you go with.
Mm-hmm.
And then even after the war, blacks who did fight for the British either went to the Caribbean or they went to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so that was one of the major influences in Canada and the black community.
Yeah.
But they never had Jim Crow in Canada. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, indigenous people, their history is a little different. They weren't just slaughtered like we did here,
Mm-hmm.
where we just exterminated them. But after they were so-called pacified, the Canadian government was a little heavy-handed in that they started to take their children, put them in schools, cut their hair, and you know the whole thing that we did here on the reservations. They couldn't practice their religion, couldn't speak the language, you know, and they wanted to culturally destroy them, just like they wanted to culturally destroy us here. So, but not to, you know, it was much on smaller levels than here. We did it massively, you know. But when first time I went to Canada, I felt free, and I had never been out of the United States. I was 19 and we went over at Niagara Falls, and I felt free, you know. And but anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take another pause, and we will be right back. You're listening again to All in the Details here at Mercer County Community College, WWFM 89.1 HD2.
Yolanda, you have to stop doing that. I know it is a.
I'm sorry.
Very
I'm sorry.
little noise. Very sensitive.
Okay, and figure out how you want to wrap this up.
Okay, that would be, skip over some other stuff. But how much time we have?
15 minutes.
Okay, we can do a little quick about,
How about the new governor?
we can talk about the new governor.
Her coming in office.
And, because we talked about the scheme of the thing, we can talk about individuals, but we can talk about the new governor.
What we gonna say?
There's a woman.
Yeah, this is the second one, but we've had another one, so this is not the first one. But we can do that.
Yeah.
And we can also talk about how that affects us. You know, the stuff we talked about. So we can, in closing stuff, I can show the connections between the shutdown and
They have a big rally today.
4, 3, 2.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to All in the Details. I'm your host, James White III, WWFM 89.1 HD2. Okay, Mr. Page, you brought up some good stuff. You want to share that with the audience?
Basically, we were just discussing a few minutes ago about we have a new governor coming in office, hoping that things could be a little different and better for all the people.
Okay. In fact, we're not going to hope, we're going to make it better.
Make it better. It's our time to make a difference.
Yeah. No hoping for
Yes.
crumbs off the table. That's over.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
I agree.
You know, we want X, we want Y, we want Z. You got to vote. We want these things. They're not unreasonable.
We got her in.
Yeah.
We got her in.
They're not unreasonable. These are reasonable things.
Yeah.
You know, that we need. You know, and education has to be supported.
Right.
Infrastructure, thank God they're doing a lot better on that. You know, and then.
Do better with the veterans.
Yeah, and the veterans,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to really educate me on this, because my experience as a veteran has been positive, but I've heard about so many negative ones.
Yes, we need more educational programs
Okay.
out there for vets that do not know what to do with themselves since they've been out. So if we show them a way they can recover from the alcohol or the drugs, they can rebuild and restructure their lives to be family members. You know, they can play a heavy role in the families again.
So we
If
need
I
to,
may, could you elaborate a little bit more as far as what type of benefits you're looking to have created?
We used to have programs like the UPI and.
What is that?
UPI is a work program that put a person in a job and get on the job training at the same time you're getting paid. So you're learning at the same time you're learning the skill. So we need programs like that to ask companies that give them a tax incentive to allow a person to be taught that skill on their job.
you know, they do that in Europe, because when I was in Germany, I found out that there's a cooperation between the government and different businesses for internships, for post-secondary education.
Right.
And they go in, they get them trained, and they're also getting paid.
Exactly.
You know, and so you want.
It's a tax incentive.
Yeah, so you're talking about a reentry program for vets now.
Yeah, for vets.
Okay.
Because they're already trained in the military way. You know,
And,
so.
and it should, clearly, there's some crossovers between military training and civilian training.
Exactly.
A lot of the skills you learn can be, they call it tactical to practical.
Okay.
You know, that you can use in a civilian environment.
And that can help our communities that's falling by their side, you know.
And
Lift them up.
They are
You
falling by
know,
the side.
we need to learn to lift our people up. And they have served in this country in a great way.
This is true.
So I'm gonna ask this question. Is there like, how do you get, I don't know how to even ask the question. How do you get the veterans or the people to connect with the veterans? Like if if there's veterans that need an assistance, how do you locate them?
Well, if you put out some kind of program out there to say this is for a vet that needs help and need some type of leadership skills to come to assist them to apply for a job on the work market, you know, and you would be trained at the same time you get paid to take care of your family.
So
It'll
are there
turn
any,
the crime thing around.
but are there anything like that at all set up for the veterans as of now? Because I know Luddy was here, he was saying something about homelessness for veterans. Remember he was saying that?
Right.
That they have now a system set up for veterans that if they're homeless, they can call a number or something like that. So I think that what you're talking about is a great idea because like, some people slip through the cracks,
Right.
and they should not.
A lot of people don't know. You know,
I think
they just
that's a
come
great
out and they
idea.
deal with the situation. And most of the time, the situation throws you back out on the streets, and then you gotta deal with street way of surviving and trying to pick up the pieces and become strong in your community as a vet in the streets. So if we find some means of some way to teach each other how to lift our community and our people that have served this country in a great way to give their life for this country, we need to turn around and start helping them again.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm gonna have to work with you on that. Okay? Because like I said, I was lucky.
Yeah.
As a veteran.
I've been fortunate too, so I understand what you mean. You know?
Because they paid for my master's degree and everything, you know.
Yeah.
And so, but a lot of people, like you said, has fallen through the cracks.
Right.
And so we need to work on that.
Yes.
So
Okay.
I have a follow-up question. And this is based off my limited knowledge. I don't have a military background, but I've seen vets come home. Since Vietnam through today, there seems to be a lot of veterans that come home with major drug addiction problems. Are those types of issues being addressed?
Not fully like it should be. You know, it's a hidden secret, and it's a hidden secret because you look at a vet that's trying to deal with life coming back to America. It's different than being in the military. So you use drugs and alcohol and anything to polish that, to hide that you are not equal to the average person that's living on the streets. So you don't have the education, you don't have the connection, you don't have the food, you don't have the family connection. You're thrown out in the streets because they think you're crazy, you're different. Because you are different, because when you're taught by the military, it's in an aggressive way, not in a passive way. So therefore, you come to the community and into the society, and you're throwing that out there and not realizing you're being aggressive. So you're being pulled back, held back, handcuffed. And so you're being taken away from what you originally were taught coming out of school and going into the military. So there's no program to rehabilitate